and setup man for Bob Wooten on his comedy routine from the Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
Yeah, my name's Art Perry, Director, Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
Arliss, you're about the only one left.
Oh, hi, Arliss.
Hi, Arliss Reynolds, City Council Member in Costa Mesa.
Katrina Foley on the phone, Mayor.
Oh, hi, Katrina. Happy New Year.
Raja Setaraman, Public Services Director.
Hi, Raj.
Okay, I think probably everyone's had a chance to say hello, introduce themselves. So let's go ahead. Are there any public? Did we receive any public comments? And anyone from the public wishing to speak? If not, we'll get started on the discussion items. And the first one is COVID-19 update by the City of Costa Mesa. Who will be giving this report?
I can give the report.
Okay.
Hi, how's everybody doing? This is Mayor Katrina Foley. So we obviously are still in a bit of a health crisis with the COVID-19, but I think health is on the way. We have the vaccine distribution that is going on throughout the county. Disneyland opened this week. There will be only vaccines distributed by reservation. So there's an app for those of you who don't know, many of you probably already know, but there's an app that's called Othena, OTHENA.com. You can go into the web or you can download the app, and that's where you sign up and register, and then they will enter you into the system. And when your tier comes up, which right now is all healthcare workers and at-risk public safety, police officers, as well as anyone over 65 can get the vaccine right now. The system is pretty backlogged, and they just ask that you have patience. I know that I signed my 94-year-old grandmother up at 4 a.m. in the morning so that we could get her signed up because you couldn't get through. So try to be creative as to when you register. And then apart from that, the city City Hall is still closed to the public. We have everything being done mostly remotely or through reservation and appointment. Of course, the mask mandate is still in place. And we did do some business grants, additional tranche of business grants. We've given more than $2 million in business grants so far in January. Sort of towards the end of January, you'll start to see another application open up so that we can get more business grants out for those businesses that are in the stay-at-home closure order, which is personal care, restaurants, and fitness and gyms. So we're really trying to support the businesses. Our Assemblywoman, Cotty Petrie Norris, has a bill, SB 74. We hope that you'll all send a letter in support. It's to give business grants almost immediately this month, up to $60,000 per business for a business that has revenues up to $5 million. So this is a much bigger grant than what we're seeing in these other grants, which usually tap out at $25,000, and you can't make more than, say, $2.5 million annually. So we'll be able to reach more of our community. And the hope is that we will all be celebrating the 4th of July, and we will be independent of COVID by then. So that's our hope, but that only will happen if we can get our community vaccinated. The Orange County Fairgrounds is in play for a vaccination site, and our fire chief is really a big part of the whole incident management team that's putting together all of the operations for getting the vaccine administered to 3.2 million people. So I think that's it, unless anyone has any questions. Oh, we also have a rent relief program that we've done. So people can contact Spin or Mercy House if they have rent needs so that they don't lose their housing. And I'm happy to report, I know Susan's there, I think, happy
Yes.
to report no COVID cases at our shelter during this entire almost 1 year.
That's terrific.
It's
I
been
didn't-
amazing. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Mayor Foley on that item? If not, Scott, you wanted to weigh in on this?
You're on
You're
mute.
muted. Scott, you're muted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think Mayor Foley kind of addressed all the issues. I'll just say one thing is that my dad was successful and he was one of the first ones to make reservations on Athena, and he got vaccinated yesterday. So he made his reservation on Monday. He got scheduled for Thursday, and he texted me yesterday. He said he was very surprised how smooth it ran. It was no issues whatsoever. He was very impressed on how the county operated. So that was good news. So yeah, I registered my whole family on Athena. So we're just waiting to hear back from them. And so I would highly recommend people to go on Athena and just at least make your reservations. And I had to do it late last night myself because, like Mayor Foley said, it's just if you try doing it a day, you can't get through. It's just everyone's trying to get on at the same time. So, but yeah, like Mayor Foley said, there's definitely a light in the tunnel. So we're really excited about it.
Well, and I want to make sure that our county, Orange County Fire Authority, as well as all of our 34 city fire departments are recognized for the work that they're doing to stand up these distribution centers. It's really the cities that are the backbone of what's happening with the COVID response. And so it's all of our city fire departments and our Orange County Fire Authority, those cities that contract with that agency, and city public safety resources and personnel, because there is no money for the county to pay to run this program. So all the cities are contributing. And people may not realize that, but want to make sure you know that.
Okay, Scott, you wanted to weigh in on our newly hired district engineer?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So I can't believe it's already been a year since the passing of Rob Hamers, our longtime district engineer. And so the board gave authorization to hire our first in-house district engineer. We did an extensive recruitment. We actually hired a recruiting firm to help us with this recruitment. And we found someone in our backyard. His name is Mark Esker. He has 35 years of wastewater experience. Most notably, he's 20 years of experience at Orange County Sanitation District. In fact, President Uden hired him when he was there. So he's got a great wealth of experience in the wastewater industry. And so he's starting on February 1st. And so we're really excited to have him here. So when he gets on board, I'm going to make sure he reaches out to Mesa Water and the city and other officials to introduce themselves to everyone. So really excited to get him started.
President Uden, I apologize.
Do you want to continue with the president pump station report?
Yes, thank you. Nolani, I do have a quick slide to show if I can do a share screen. Let me see if this is host disabled. If you can allow me to use the share screen. Still not allowing me to do it. Nolani, I can't share my screen. Is there any way I can share a screen?
We'll go ahead with the verbal report.
Sure. Okay, well, I was going to show some pictures of and some diagrams of our most expensive and elaborate CIP project to date. This is the rehabilitation of our President pump stations, which is located at the end of a cul-de-sac at President Place. And there's a alleyway that leads back into Canyon Park, which a lot of people's access uses to get to Canyon Park. So we are spending it's over $1.6 million to rehabilitate this pump stations. What we're going to be doing, see if it works now. Nope. So what we're going to be doing is converting our dry well where the pumps are into a wet well. And the purpose for that is a couple of reasons. One, it makes the pumps quieter, so less vibrations, and it's really easier to maintain, believe it or not. So there's no need to oil, lubricate like bearings or external couplings. So it makes it a little easier for maintenance. We're also going to have a permanent generator on the site to ensure when there's any power outages, the pump stations will still have power. But also, most notably, we're going to be constructing an emergency wet well. So that if there is a sewer spill, this well can hold up to 3,600 gallons of sewage, which would buy us about 90 minutes of time to respond to the SSO. So that's huge. So that's going to be going in as well. It's about a 3-month process, three month construction. So they're going to be starting here any day now, and they'll be done about end of April. We have signs up at this pump station warning the members of the public that access to the Canyon Park will be closed for several months. We've also sent letters out to the residents in the neighborhood. We posted it on social media, and the city was very cooperative in assisting us getting that message out on their social media outlets as well. So thank you to the city for helping us on that. So yeah, so we're just about getting ready to start on this project. Really excited to get it done, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Scott, go ahead and try sharing your screen now. I apologize. I was working off of 2 systems and it was frozen.
Okay. Yeah, okay, here we go. So let me.
In the essence of time, Scott, I move it along.
Sure. So here it is. So here's President Place right here. This is the alleyway. Here's Canyon Park. The station is right here. And you see here this is what it looks like if you're walking towards the park. The station's inside this gates, and here's some signs we have here warning people about the closure. This is from Canyon Park, walking back into President Place. So this is the station right here. So again, this is where the dry well, it's going to be a wet well right where the pumps. This is the emergency vault, what I was just telling you about. That was going to hold about 3,600 gallons of sewage if we have a sewer spill. This is the generator here that's going to be there permanently. This right here is an existing fence that they'll be removed, and so this is the new DG pathway that'll be reconstructed. It's a nice pathway for people to walk to the park. All this right here, the blue area will all be concrete. So it'll be a nice pump station. So again, that's going to be over $1.6 million once that's done. So that's pretty much it.
Does anyone have any questions for Scott?
Hi, this is Mayor
If not,
Foley.
Mayor
Is
Foley.
it possible? Hi, Scott, could you make sure that
Sorry, I broke it up. I didn't hear you.
next week?
Can you say that again? I
Great
couldn't
work.
hear you.
Thank you. I was asking if it would be possible for you to get those slides to our city team, because it'd be great to put that in our Costa Mesa, our weekly update for the city.
Sure, I'll send it to Raja. Absolutely.
Great.
Will you send it to all of us?
Sure, not a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just
Okay.
add, Scott, just wanted to thank you for acknowledging the important access way that is for residents, particularly in that neighborhood. So I'm sure they'll get to see other parts of the neighborhood for those 3 months while they walk around to another entrance. But I'm really glad to see that the pathway will be rehabilitated as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Okay, can we go on to item 5? Mayor Foley, are you going to do SB 1383?
No, I believe that's going to be Raja, right?
Correct.
Okay.
This is Raja.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the SB 1383 is a new regulation that was adopted by the state to essentially recycle organic waste. So it requires starting on January 2022 for all agencies to provide organic waste collection, and then establish an edible food waste recovery program. It requires us to conduct outreach to all the parties like businesses and multifamilies that are impacted by this. It requires us to do capacity planning covering 15 years of organic waste diversion. And also there is procurement requirements for us to buy organic waste products like compost, mulch, etc. And it's prescribed by state at certain levels that we have to procure these. And also it requires city to establish enforcement protocols to make sure that the businesses and all affected parties meet the requirements of this SB 1383. So in order to achieve this, we have to make some changes to the agreements we have with the various haulers. So we had a study session actually last Tuesday, so you probably can watch quite a bit of presentation on that one. So there was good discussion from the city council as to our next steps, which is, we'll be starting preparing agreements and revising our municipal ordinance to meet the requirements of this new mandate, from the state. And it's an ambitious program, and so we'll be working on that over the next few months to get this up and running. And from Costa Mesa Sand District, I mean, you guys are aware of this one, and you've been taking steps, towards encouraging organic waste on your end also.
So that was my question, Shar Matoya. This is just going to take the organic waste program that citizens have had available to them from CCNR and through Costa Mesa Sanitation, correct? And now expand it so that businesses and organizations now have to also have the little green bins with the green tops on them. That's a metaphor. We don't necessarily have to have that, but we have to have a plan for our organic waste.
Yeah, I mean, we started the same thing, but what we are finding is the compliance is not at a level that is expected. So we have to now go to a higher level of compliance. We have to involve more businesses, more properties to meet this requirement, and that's what's going to happen.
It's a paradigm shift. We were spoiled for so long to be able to put everything into the bins and know that someone else was going to take care of it. But it is a very nice thing to have. And we who have already been trained will move seamlessly, and our organizations will pay attention. I wrote that down, and we'll let our landscape and food services and M&O know what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Raj?
I have this, Mayor Foley. I have a question for the Sand District. So are you going to be moving to separate bins for the single family residential?
Mr. President, I can answer that question.
Okay, Scott.
Yes, Mayor Foley, that is something we are considering, definitely considering that. We plan on having that discussion with the board probably in March or April. It's definitely, what I'm going to probably propose to my board is maybe first survey the residents, because like you said, it is a paradigm shift. It is a change of behavior. We know there's a lot of people that like the mixed waste cart system. Would they prefer a 3-cart system, or do they still want to say the mixed waste cart system? I would like to engage with the residents first to see what's their comfort level, and then come back to the board with some kind of recommendations. But yeah, it turns out we're going to probably be one of the last agencies in Orange County and possibly California that have the mixed waste systems, and I'm pretty sure CRNR is going to be suggesting going to 3-can system. So we are looking into that.
Yeah, because based on our presentation at the meeting on Tuesday, it sounds like we're not going to meet our goals, which are mandated goals, if we don't do that. That was the impression I got from the individual who did the analysis and presented to us. So we'd like to be able to help you get the message out with regard to that, if that's the move, which I don't see how it's avoidable at this point. And then also, as it relates, I know we have this item on the agenda, but as it relates to our edible collection, it would be great to partner with the school district maybe more aggressively, once kids get back to school full time and we actually have lunch
At
together,
school, yeah.
that we would, because there's a lot more we can do, with the edible waste, especially with the schools, because we all know that kids throw a lot of food away.
So sad. Yes.
Definitely.
Raj, I missed the meeting the other night, but I have a strong background in solid waste, and is there going to be more public meetings?
Yes, and Ms. Tooten, yeah, definitely. There will be a lot of outreach that needs to happen with this program. And also, that meeting is available on our website, so you should be able to listen to it at your leisure.
Yeah.
And we'll be meeting with Sand District also over time to kind of discuss this more anyway, as to coordinate on various items. There are logistical challenges involved. We are already seeing with the current bins, the space it takes up so much space on the street that parking gets to be constrained.
Yeah,
We see that
yeah.
challenge all the time. So there are logistical challenges involved, and we'll be coordinating, and there'll be a lot of outreach.
Is that meeting part of the city council meeting, or was it a separate meeting so I can look it up?
It was a city council study session
Thank you.
on the 12th. Yeah.
Thank you even more.
Okay. Yeah, we're looking forward to working with you. The residential input in trash tonnage is about 17% of the city's total. So you've got a massive job ahead of you if you're going to come even close to meeting that 2025 deadline.
Yeah.
And I think the deadline is a goal, and not a regulation. But I applaud the city for trying to get out in front of this major issue. The next item is the bridge shelter project for the city.
I'll go ahead and provide an update to the group. Susan Price, Assistant City Manager with Costa Mesa. As many of you know, we've been operating a 50-bed shelter at the Lighthouse Church since April of 2019. And Raja and his team have been concurrently working on a construction project at 3175 Airway. We anticipated being completed with that construction project in mid to late January, but due to some supply chain issues and COVID delays, we have some windows that are going to be delayed in their delivery to the first week of February. And so we're comfortable with that. This project has been completely on track. And so, this one delay won't really cause us too much problems in our timeline. We have a lease with Lighthouse Church through the end of April. And our plan has always been to move the clients over from Lighthouse to Airway in mid to late March. And so right now, even though it's a 50-bed shelter, the census has to stay under 24 because of the social distancing and COVID protocols. Right now, we have 18 clients in the shelter. We have one of the trailers that was provided to us by the state in the parking lot so that we can test people upon intake into the shelter. And that's why we've been so successful. Some of our implementation strategies to keep this population safe and COVID-free. It's been incredible working with this team. And so we've also got 9 people staying in motels because they're either over 65 years old or highly vulnerable. So we're keeping them isolated from the general population. So we are still serving, just a little over 25 on the average. So with the Airway site, we've been working with IKEA, who's been a great corporate partner to provide a lot of the furnishings and even some interior design work on the shelter. We'll be working with some local artists through our arts and community services. Charlene Aschendorf, who I'm sure many of you know, is working with us, and some local artists to help kind of augment some of the design features in the shelter. And we hope to, bring the clients in March and then clear out the Lighthouse church location and be completely up and running. We've received grants from the county, 2.5 million for the capital improvement project. I'll take another opportunity to thank the Sand District for the $50,000 contribution towards the construction of the restrooms. And then also we have executed an MOU with the city of Newport Beach to work in collaboration with them. And so right now, even before the shelter opens, our teams have been integrating on the street outreach side of things and really working towards, identifying who's going to be most appropriate for the shelter. I do want to mention too that while we're in this interim phase and we don't have referrals coming from Newport because Airway's not open, the County of Orange has opened the Yale site. In the next probably 10 days, they'll open that up. And they've asked for pickup sites located in all 9 cities in the central service planning area. And they've opened that shelter up to City of Newport Beach and City of Costa Mesa. The 425 beds there has no COVID restrictions because they have such large space that they're able to actually accommodate 425 homeless people there. So that is amazing resource, and we'll be able to use that probably in the next 10 to 14 days. So we appreciate the collaboration that we've got with the county, both on the public health side and on the homeless side. And Mayor Foley had mentioned our rental assistance program. We do have Spin and Mercy House operating that, but the county just received an allocation, a large allocation of rental assistance from the federal treasury. And we hope to benefit from that as well, because we know we're seeing impacts in our community on people losing their apartments or, losing their income. And so, we're also working on that bulk item pickup. We've seen a big increase in the need to do that. And so we're working on all these different aspects, just because we're seeing all these impacts from COVID. So with that, I'll stop and see if there are any questions.
Susan, remind me again, what is our capacity in the new shelter?
Oh, sorry. The new shelter will be a 72-bed shelter.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is Maris DiPasquale. I don't have a question for Susan. Thank you for the lovely update. It's always nice to see you. Could we switch the screen back so we can see more than 4 people? Because I have the agenda. It's just, I'm only.
Good call. I like that too.
I didn't see a chat.
I want to see all of you too.
Well, while we're switching the screen back, Ms. Mayor Foley, I wanted to also let you know that while you may see an increase in people experiencing homelessness over the last couple of months due to the COVID restrictions on our programming and our outreach, we have geared up again. And so that should start to reduce again. Additionally, Councilmember Gameros and I went on a little tour of the city recently and did some photographing of areas that we're concerned about with regard to growing number of encampments. And in particular, not in Costa Mesa, but I think what people maybe perceive as Costa Mesa, the area between Hospital Road, where you go to Hogue, and 17th Street. There's a large number of encampments that have been forming there. And so we've reached out to Newport, and we are working to try to, not allow that to expand, and certainly to move people out of those encampments. And I don't know if, Susan, you have any further update on that.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Mayor Foley. I started a group that has been in the city for a while historically, but it's what I'm calling the Neighborhood Improvement Task Force. And it's an interdepartmental meeting where we've got code enforcement, street outreach staff, law enforcement, Raj's team, and basically coordinating on any sort of quality of life issues that we've got in our community. So not just homelessness, but, trash buildup, large bulk item issues, code enforcement, and we've been addressing a lot of areas. And so, we feel sometimes like we're playing whack-a-mole But with regards to the encampment on the Newport Boulevard leading up to Hogue, you should see a good size cleanup at that location. We've already been out there. We've been coordinating with Newport. It is in their city, but we are working with them on those sites, and it should be cleared by now. If it isn't, already, it will be in the next few days because we've already been responding to that area.
And Susan, can you give the information about the phone numbers and the new information and where they can find that so that they can send it out to through all their communications about our new outreach numbers? You don't have to just call the police department, but you can, but can you share that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And I would prefer that we not call the non-emergency line or the police department. They're super busy on police matters. And so what we've done is created a live line where you can call the homeless services directly. And so that number is 714-754-5346. We ask that you call that number if you see somebody in distress. Obviously, there could be a 911 call, but if there's somebody that you're concerned about, we'll send outreach out to that location. If you're calling about an encampment, you can let us know about that as well. Our teams are pretty familiar with what's going on. They've been out there canvassing, and we've got a real strong team. So it's just force multiplied by working with the city of Newport. And, we're very happy to be working with them on clearing that encampment. I've never seen an encampment there ever in my career, and we're not going to let it grow.
Thank you, Susan.
Yep.
Okay, can we move on to food waste receptacle, a city presentation? Is that you, Raj?
Yeah, I mean, thank you. Yeah, it could be. It's like this is related to the 1383
Okay.
program, and I think Sand District is already for single family you provide pails for organic waste collection.
Yes.
I think there are similar programs need to be in place for all the new areas that we want to cover to meet the requirements of the program.
I think
Okay.
the reason this is on here is because the county is no longer funding the program. And so we wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that so that we don't lose the program.
As Ms. Foley mentioned, this is actually regarding the Waste Not OC, program that is not getting the funding it's needed. And so again, the 1383 requirements is the city that create an edible food recovery program, which is related to item number 8 actually also. Or we support an existing program or financially and promote it. So Waste Not OC is just one of the groups. There are other groups that recover edible food waste, and we want to make sure that that gets implemented.
So does that cover item number 7 and 8? The food waste, the edible food waste.
Mayor Foley, I think SOS is what you mentioned about the good work that they do.
Yeah, I don't know why that was on the agenda. I just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
If I could just make a comment about that. And, I did meet with SOS yesterday because I was unfamiliar with that program. And as we roll this out, we definitely are going to need, edible food program separation. So I'm thinking Waste Not OC is probably a really good partner if we could get that to be a county-wide program. So, I've got that on my list to negotiate with the County of Orange to try to get that to be something that all of our cities can align with. SOS reported to me yesterday that they don't feel that they would have the capacity. They do, regenerate food that gets donated to them and provide it to homeless populations. They do that now, but pretty small scale compared to what would be needed under the initiatives we're talking about today. So I think Waste Not OC is probably a higher capacity partner
Yeah.
both for Costa Mesa and also just for the county. So I'll be talking with them about that as this rolls out.
Okay.
And I think what is important about this is that we maybe need to have sort of a little working group amongst the different agencies to collaborate, especially with the school district, on how we can start to address the edible waste. I really think that we need to have the school district has to be hand in hand on this, because they really have the most food going out over, I mean, even I think maybe restaurants at some point, obviously not right now, but you know, when school gets back and returns back to normal, that's where we really do, we can make a big dent there.
Okay, thank you. The community choice update by Mesa.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year, everybody. Good to be here and good to see all of you. Mesa Water District Board had a board meeting last night, and one of the items was a presentation on community choice aggregation. We had California Advocates and also Southern California Edison giving us presentations. We had invited the Orange County Power Authority, but they haven't quite come together as an organization yet. So maybe later we'll get some input from them. California allows local agencies to create these community choice aggregation programs. Their JPAs, and their purpose is to purchase power on behalf of their community. You would still receive transmission and distribution from your local utility, which our case is Southern California Edison. And recently, several cities in Orange County have formed the Orange County Power Authority: Buena Park, Fullerton, Huntington Beach, Irvine, Lake Forest. And the board of directors consists of one director from each of those cities, although the city of Irvine gets 2 directors. So that's a little background. Mesa Water Board had a very good discussion, and kind of the reasons to either, you know, join the OCPA or for an organization like us to opt in or opt out of something like this would be 2 things. One, do you want to go greener faster than the current regulations as far as renewable energy, or 2, the possibility of saving money? So the discussion at the board is that California already has a very, very aggressive schedule in renewables. The schedule is 50% renewables by 2025, which is only 4 years from now, 60% by 2030, and 100% by 2045. So this is the most aggressive schedule in the nation, and they are on track for making that. So, you know, Edison and all the other providers are doing a really good job of ramping up their renewable energy. One reason you might want to join this is if you want to go greener even faster. So, you know, that was a discussion. And then also the other reason you might want to join is if you could save some money. And the thought is, you know, there's already 10 of these JPAs in Edison territory. Would a dozen or more of these smaller organizations, you know, individually, will they be able to purchase power on the market for that's greener and less expensive than Edison? Will they be able to outperform Edison, with the knowledge that Edison has the most purchasing power because they buy the most energy, and they have a tremendous amount of experience with their big war room and their traders who are looking moment by moment to see, you know, what the best deal is. So that was the discussion that we had at the board. They've asked staff to look at the existing JPAs to see how their rates compare with others. And you know, our board, with our efforts, I know all of our agencies have done efforts to reduce our carbon footprint. The aggressive schedule that Edison and the state are on So we're still gathering some information, but these were thoughts that our agency is going to consider when the time comes, if a time does come, whether we should opt in or opt out of such a program. So those are our thoughts for the group, if there are any comments.
I just want to point out from the city, this was a big discussion item for us over the last few months, actually. So we've been working with many other cities, including, the city of Irvine program was something that we debated quite a bit, at city council meetings and at various closed sessions. And there was some disagreement as to the terms of the agreement, especially, what Polly mentioned about them having 2 directors and everybody else gets only 1. And, we didn't like that aspect of it, as well as a few other clauses that are part of that agreement. So this is a priority for the city, and with our energy and sustainability manager, we have been working on this program. So we are now looking into other options. We are looking at other partners and see what makes sense for us. So this is something that has been in many city council meetings in the last few months.
Real quick. Yeah, sorry, Raja. I just got a text message from Mayor Foley. She got kicked off and is sitting in the waiting room and would like to be let back in.
Oh, no. Oh, there she's back.
There you go.
Any questions for Raj or Paul?
Mayor
No, I
Foley,
think
we were talking about the community choice energy program that we did not join with Irvine. That was a discussion so far.
Yeah, we just look, I can say that we look forward then to seeing how those discussions evolve.
What would be the next decision point for the city on this? And would this be taken to a vote of the citizens, or at least an advisory vote for the citizens' consideration?
Mayor Foley, I can answer that, but maybe you can chime in too. It's not necessarily need a citizen vote on that one. It's something that the city council will, through public meetings, will decide the course of action. And then the citizens have the right to opt out of the program. So it's not that everybody is forced to do this program. So if, let's say city is part of the JPA that administers the CCA, all the ratepayers, all the accounts will be switched over to the new CCA, where the residents and businesses will have a choice of different energy markets. But they can choose to say, I don't want to be part of that program, and they can opt out of it, and then they'll be back to Edison. So the JPA doesn't mean that all the supply is still at Edison. So nothing changes as far as any account is concerned. You feel the same. Your rate may be down by a couple %, and so that's the goal. And then there'll be a lot of outreach too. Definitely, it's not that we would implement it and nobody knows about it. There'll be a lot of outreach. People will know that they can opt out, and how to make this program work.
Well, yeah, let us know when that occurs. I know at least the current one in Orange County, and I know other areas as well, you're automatically enrolled, particularly given the age of our community and the fact that we have a lot of renters and other things. It's confusing. You have a window to opt out, and then you can't opt out again. And if you do opt out past that first 60 days, you have to pay to opt out. So I think what you said, Raja, is spot on. It's going to require a tremendous amount of education and outreach with the cities.
Why wouldn't we consider allowing them to opt in rather than forcing them to opt out?
I think it is.
We're getting ahead of ourselves on this conversation. Our goal is going to be to, whatever we do, make sure that it is the smoothest, easiest transition for residents, so that it's seamless and they don't feel it. I mean, that's the goal. we don't want to do anything that's going to create disruption, or of course, we don't want to do anything that's going to cost people more money. The whole goal is to reduce the cost. So we're not in a place right now where we're joining the current JPA because we have concerns about the operating agreement and that it does not benefit the city of Costa Mesa, or for that matter, many cities, because Irvine continues to remain in control of everything. So with 2 votes and a weighted vote, and then there's some language in there that is, we got too many lawyers involved, but there's some language in there that is problematic with respect to curing any breaches and time to get out of the JPA, and as well as issues that are still being researched and negotiated with our attorneys with regard to any pension obligations. So we just weren't in a position where we could move forward because there's too many unanswered questions. But as soon as this item comes before us again, we'll make sure everybody has notice and that we don't do anything until there's lots of community engagement. Right, Arliss?
Always.
Okay, any other discussion on this item? If not, we'll move to item 10, the Fairview Avenue irrigation line leak. Paul?
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is something that happened a week ago and got a little bit of social media attention. The leak has been fixed a couple days ago. And it occurred in the median of Fairview, just south of the 405 bridge. The Caltrans 405 partners had taken out the center median, and right there is where it wasn't a main line that was disturbed, but it was a 1 or 2 inch service line that was under pressure that had begun leaking. So it was actually a relatively small leak with some water on the surface. There wasn't any, quote, sinkhole, if you saw that on the social media. But, just wanted to give, and all the agencies cooperated very well.
It was not a Mesa water leak.
Pardon?
It wasn't our pipe.
Yeah, it actually ended up being our pipe that was in the median that the Caltrans 405 partners had been working around and on. But for overall context, the Mesa Water has over 300 miles of pipe in the city, mainline pipe, from 8 inch to maybe 24 inch, basically down every single street. And then also off of those lines, we have smaller 1 inch or 2 inch service lines to 25,000 meters. So that's about another 200 miles of pipe. So, that's over 500 miles of pipe that is all internally pressurized at 60 to 100 pounds per square inch. So I think it's good that we have very, very few leaks, which we do. Our pipelines are in good shape and we maintain them well. Our water loss leakage rate is 5 times less than the average in the state. But to give you some context, for mainline breaks, we get about 12 mainline breaks a year, and, from these 300 to 500 miles of pipe. Which is, unfortunate that you have to have any kind of mainline breaks. And, there's always a lot of contractor assistance in some of these breaks. But it's actually a very good record. I was talking with Meg McQuaid, who's the Public Works Director at Fullerton, about a month ago, as opposed to our 12 a year that we basically have of our mainline breaks. They have over 200 a year and keep their crews very, very busy on a daily basis. So it's just, we appreciate the cooperation with the city and the Caltrans 405 partners. It probably won't be the last leak that we get, but we do a lot to try to keep the system in good shape and the leak rate low, which it is. So just wanted to bring that up. You know, we were putting together items when this was occurring, so we thought we'd give you guys an update on that.
Sue?
Yeah, if I could make a comment to that. Thank you, Paul, for that update. I know that our teams were working together to try to identify and solve that problem over the course of probably 10 days to figure out which pipe was leaking. But, you know, with regard to the sinkhole, and I'm speculating now, but just want to acknowledge that, you know, we have an agreement that was recently updated between the city and Mesa Water for after hours calls for water emergencies. And, you know, I'm speculating that someone called that in on Saturday afternoon or evening to say there was a water leak at Fairview and that there may be a sinkhole. And that is what got communicated to us. And so, you know, being a telecommuter, we were not able to confirm whether there was actually a sinkhole or whether there was really just a fear of a sinkhole because of a water leak in the road. And so that's kind of where that originated potentially.
Yeah.
You know, we've kind of addressed that internally just to make sure that, you know, we're not speculating in our outreach to the public and ending up on Facebook with something that, you know, is a little bit more significant. And, you know, I think the word sinkhole is probably a big deal for a water district. And so I apologize for that message getting out there more broadly than, you know, not accurate. So thank you.
Yeah,
It was fun to receive. It's like, oh, that's right around the corner.
yeah.
And it actually had been leaking for several days prior to Saturday night. So, you know, I was sitting there thinking, why is this happening right now on a Saturday night? Because it's been leaking for 5 days prior to that. And it was a fairly small leak as you described. So I'm glad that, you know, our team got the OC 405 out there, redirected the water. There was no impact to the road. So it was a good partnership. Thank you.
Paul, was this clean water or recycled water?
It was clean water.
Clean water, yeah.
Yep. Recycled water is clean. It's just recycled.
I know where it comes from. Any other question for Paul? Paul, do you want to go on to the capital improvement project update?
Yeah, and the President Newton, you had, you know, inquired about this with Mesa Water previously, so we thought we'd just give a real quick verbal. So, you know, just the capital structure of water districts are very capital intensive versus, you know, other organizations that might be more intensive. So, I mean, your typical city might have 70% of or more of their entire budget expenses as labor, whereas a water district might have 20% or less of their expenses of labor. So that other 80% of our budget is the operations, the maintenance, the repair, and the replacement of this, you know, large and very expensive facility that we have, which are the 500 miles of pipe that I talked about, and the pump stations and groundwater wells and reservoirs and the groundwater treatment plant and on and on. So most of our effort is the operation and maintenance of and the repair and replacement of that infrastructure. So Mesa Water, every year we spend, you know, quite a few $1 million on keeping it upgraded and keeping the system tight and the service levels high to avoid, you know, as many of these leaks as possible. So we have embarked upon a 3-year, $70 million capital improvement. We're replacing 2 well sites that are no longer operable, and this keeps us the only agency in Orange County that gets all of its water locally, which really helps with our carbon footprint. We're spending it on improvements to our groundwater treatment plant, upgrades and replacements to our reservoirs and our underground vaults. And not this year, but in some out years, we're going to be doing about $6 million of pipe replacement for some of our old pipes. So we are funding these improvements through a $70 million certificate of participation. Fortunately, we were able to hit the historically low rate era, and with our AAA credit rating, we were able to fund this at the lowest cost possible going forward. So our whole board, and especially Director Dwayne, who has a background in finance, has spent a lot of time on what is the optimal financing and capital structure of the district. We feel that we've hit that balance very well. And then from a very broad perspective, you can see the efficiency of water districts maybe by how much money they spend per capita every year on their operations. We're glad to report that Mesa Water continues to be the most efficient water district in Orange County. The water districts in Orange County spend between $350 per person per year, which is Mesa Water District, up to over $800 per person per year. We feel that our combination of PAYGO and debt and our continual improvement, keeping the system operating well, has helped us with that. So hope that answers some of your questions, Bob. And if you ever want to meet and go over any of that in more detail, would gladly do that.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions for Paul?
Well, I'll just add on to the capital improvement project. I think as a board and as a district, we're very excited to kick it off. And it was just historic lows. It's cheaper to borrow the money than it is to spend out through our reserves right now. And so, you're always straddled with this, is it one generation who's going to get stuck with the upgrade just because of the time, that it is. And this way it allows us to really, in the long run and right out of the gate, save ratepayers a lot of money on those improvements. So we're really excited, and we're obviously very proud of the fact that we were able to do that. And I think it sold out in like 13 minutes. It was a record offering. We couldn't even log on quick enough to watch it happen. So it was exciting for us. We're very excited. So thank you for letting us brag about our upcoming program.
Okay, let's go on to the last item, which is city districts. Looks like the school district needs to change the date of our April meeting.
Our April meeting is during our spring break. It's not a life-threatening thing since no one can go anywhere, but maybe by April we could leave. So we would be fine with the week before or the week after would be less intrusive, but
would you reach out to the 4 participants then and decide on a date and then just let us know?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you guys for being amenable to that. We will optimistically look forward to maybe not having to be home. So thank you.
Okay, that's way too optimistic, Charlene. July. Get July in your mind.
You're right. You're right, Katrina. I'll still be home in April. But it would be nice for all involved if they could take a Friday off. So we will have our people talk to your people and we'll get a new date. Thank you so much.
Okay. Does any of the other committee members have comments?
Just want to point out one thing. I just want to announce, recently the city applied, for LEED cities and communities program, and we got certified as a LEED Gold city. So just want to, it's actually, it's not just a city of Costa Mesa. We actually, had included input from Sand District, from Mesa Water, from everybody. So it is actually a collective effort from everyone to make that happen. So it's a good thing for all of us to be part of that.
Yeah, we have a LEED Platinum building, and I think some of you all's old blue jeans are some of the insulation in that roof. So we thank you very much for your donation. Mike, you had your hand up?
Yeah, real quick, if I could, at the risk of beating a dead horse, I just want to implore to the city that sanitary district has a lot of experience in organics and recycling. We know what 1383 is. You guys know we know. Raj, I know you know we know. A lot of us are very involved with SWANA, the Solid Waste Association of North America, and we keep updated with what other cities are doing, what other districts are doing. So our district is as Mayor Foley said, we need a working group, and on behalf of the sanitary district, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we are always there to help you guys with that. If we could just get supermarkets to recycle their organics, you guys would be over the limit right away. And once restaurants are back and operating more in-house, right now we're seeing an uptick in our organics because people are taking food home and putting it in our bins. Well, when the restaurants are back and working full time, you guys are going to obviously see that. So just again, on behalf of the district, we're there and we have all the information to help you guys. We'd love to do that. And for Charlene, I'm getting my shot next week, so I hope April's a good month for me. But one of the advantages of being an old person is you get your shot early.
I'm trying. I thank you from Katrina's hint to call early and call often.
It also helps to have family members in the healthcare industry.
Paul, you had your hand up?
Oh, I was just going to pile on and tell the city of Costa Mesa, very impressive on your LEED Gold certification. I saw your press release. Costa Mesa is only one of 4 cities in the US to receive this from the new, more stricter LEED standards. So it's Costa Mesa, Orlando, Santa Fe, and Las Vegas. So we're one of the big 4. And I just thought it was very impressive. Good job.
Yeah, Orange Coast College, Mike Carey got some sort of an award from the LEED program also. And, you know, I think his background and experience and recycling efforts, you know, have definitely helped our city.
You know, I remember last year at our last meeting, I was speaking with Mary Hornbuckle, and she was asking if the Coastline Community College District could be included in this meeting. So I don't know who the powers that be that do that, but she thought because they too are electeds and they're in Costa Mesa, their home base. So someone higher than me can make that decision, but I just wanted to remind us that she did ask if we could do that, because poor OC, all these beautiful brand new buildings that nobody can be in right now.
Maris, do you have can you weigh in on that? I mean, could you and I and whomever?
Perfect. Yeah, like I said, people higher than me. All I had to do was say it, and now I'm done with my part.
Sure, it merits discussion. I mean, all things considered, I'm one of the newer members of this committee. But I guess the original intent, I thought, was to really dive through and peel back the layers on the city issues, which is what all our agencies do. And while they're a fine member of our agency, maybe it merits a discussion where when we're back to normal, there's something like a, you know, annual or biannual coffee with everybody welcome to attend. That's not a public meeting. I only say that because as much as I love the Zoom format, I will probably be sitting here for another 19 hours today, which is what I do all day, every day. And, yeah, I think it merits discussion, Bob, and I know you and I are trying to get together, but while I have the floor, I'll be very quick. Bob, you have run a great meeting. You're a good taskmaster and kept us on a nice agenda. And if we're under an hour and 10, man, I'm going to be very, very happy. So thank you. But yeah, I think
please don't sweat this head more than it needs to be, Maris.
Okay, any other Maris, Arliss?
Yeah, thank you. Just while I think the school board got off easy today, so I wanted to throw one note in your direction, Charlene. While I know you mentioned people are excited to get back in buildings, I know there's really a lot of interest to take advantage of as much open space as we can with the not just the parks but school grounds, and there's been some sort of loose conversation on how we can create some more access to some of the park space, especially in the areas of our city that have fewer parks. So I'll be interested in you'll see me starting to poke a little bit too and try to get in those conversations about possibly increasing access to the school district fields, either for open recreation and then of course for safe sports usage.
we can absolutely have coffee to talk about it informally, and I can let you know where I think we're at. 1 out of 7, as you know how that works. And then we can absolutely see how we can, at the very least, have a forward. Kids need to have something to do. We'd like to have them in school. What a concept.
Great.
So
Thank you.
yeah, well, absolutely.
Hey, any other committee member want to make a comment? If not, I'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much for your participation. Great discussions.
Thank you. You're just missing the breakfast that goes with this.
Yeah, really. My piece of toast didn't quite cut it. Thanks, everybody. Happy New Year.
Be safe.